I'd like to discuss with you.
This meeting is being recorded.
Like to discuss with all of you. I was just looking at the calendar regarding the next couple of months forthcoming, January and February. And I'll just put this out here early and we can kind of decide on it at the end of the meeting. It seems that the third Monday for both January and for February will be holiday days. January 16th, which is the third Monday on the forthcoming, will be Martin Luther King's Day. And then the next week, next month, will be, I think it's February the 20th will be President's Day. So I don't like to make, the dates of meeting burdensome, but I do, we've been kind of holding this regimen of the third Monday. If it's okay with you all to do it on those days, we'll do it. But if the body feels, we may need to reconsider, let's give some thought to that, and at the end of the meeting, we can kind of come to a determination. Amen. I guess that sounds means amen quietly.
Yes, sir. That's about it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm on mute. I
That's
heard,
okay.
Brother Pete. How you doing?
Hi, Mr. MD.
Well, listen, I want to welcome all of you on board here tonight. God bless each one of you. I just thank the Lord for bringing you here safely. And we want to just hopefully move right along and give as much information in a succinct, quaint fashion as best we can. And then let you go to your families and the other things that you're doing. There has been some movement and some things we are working towards that we're going to uplift and highlight tonight, I think in a positive way. But let me just introduce myself as Reverend Dr. Robert Screen. I'll be a facilitator tonight, and as I have been. And we're just going to get ready to move into some enlightening information. I don't know if I'm thinking and praying Major Mitchell's on board. I didn't see your if you're letting up here on the board here on my screen, but if Major Mitchell, if you're here, we will start off with you with this month's report that you would have for us, and we'll just give it to you and let you take it away.
Good evening, everybody. Captain Mitchell is off the next couple days. Okay. He had some prior engagements. This is Captain Martini of the Division 7.
Okay.
To talk about our numbers for 210 and what our enforcement efforts have been since January 1st of this year till right now, we have had over 1,700 traffic stops on 210. Okay. And from those traffic stops, we've had close to 4,000 tickets that have been written. And of those, 1,200 have been moving violations, over 2,400 have been warnings, and 318 have been equipment repair orders.
Okay.
Also, as part of our pedestrian safety program, as far as the citizens that we've contacted, we've had over 5,170 contacts so far this year. And again, that goes from January 1st till now. Getting ready to reset the clock in a few weeks. I will say this, hopefully some good news is our department has been doing well in this day and age as far as recruitment of hiring new police officers. We have some people graduating, and we actually have some new people starting in the academy, and we're getting some transfers from some other agencies.
All right.
Okay.
So the more we get, hopefully we get some bodies down Division 7, which frees up the officers to hopefully hit 210 harder.
Sounds good. Captain Martini, again, Reverend Scream, when will you think the community will see these new, I guess not all necessarily new recruits, but at least new faces coming into the district?
We have actually 2 new officers right now that are in training. We actually got them a few months ago, and they're in training. They're due to be out on their own in the next couple weeks. So they'll be, out on their own. And then hopefully we have some more people graduating in February, another class of like 20 or so. So it'd be nice if we could get a couple of those bodies, and they actually have several more in the hiring process that then, takes 6, 7, 8 weeks, months to graduate the academy. But hopefully, just every time we can pick up a couple bodies is a big help.
Amen to that. Question on, going back to your report, any additional DUIs in the reporting period that you have? The recent
No,
one?
not just still the one DUI and the 7 warrant services that we've had.
Okay, okay. Last question for me. What would be the possibility, this may not be your decision, but just in case you may have a slight ear in this direction, with the additional recruits or this additional faces coming on board, is there a possibility of having one or maybe 2 of those, just dedicated to traffic alone, or having a traffic officer, I would say, that would be assigned to, the District 7? Is that a possibility?
Well, I don't want to commit a yes or a no to that.
Mhm.
That's going to be from above me with either Major Mitchell or above him. But I will say that we will still be hurting manpower wise.
Okay,
And I will say my big encouragement when we have our staff meetings and when I have meetings with the different squads and that, I'm always encouraging people to get out there and get on 210 when they're in between calls, or if they have any downtime, that, if every officer can make an additional 2 traffic stops, people see the lights, people see the cruisers, and that helps the situation out a lot. So I'm always encouraging, hey, you don't have to go out there, and if you're busy, if you're this and that, but I'm very encouraging, hey, if every officer does 1, if every officer does 2, every officer does 3, what a difference we'll make. So
yes. Well, thank you so much, Captain Martini. A wonderful report. I usually wait to the end of the meeting, but I know sometimes you guys have to step out maybe early, but I appreciate you reporting. And it's good encouraging to know that we're getting some additional faces for enforcement coming through the district office there.
yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that being said, we will move right. I wanted to move on. I see Peter Campanides is on. I want to hold you, Peter, for just one more session. We have Brother Ron Rice here with us. And Brother Ron, I wanted to turn over, Ron, you over to the audience in terms of the information you have. As all of you know, those who were here the last meeting, we were speaking about putting together a white paper being basically a document to help Delegate Valderrama in the forthcoming General Assembly. And the idea was to give her the type of statistical data that will help her in her quest for us, number one, in this new year coming up, 2023, where the sunset clause for the cameras will be forthcoming, to fight for those cameras to indeed be permanent. Number 2 was to get additional cameras. Then there's some also other issues along with those 2 critical points that we wanted her to go to the General Assembly on our behalf. But Brother Ron Rice, I'd like to let you go ahead and give us the report as you have it, things that you've been working with her on, and any additional information that you would like to also share with us, Brother Ron. So this is Brother Ron Rice. That's part of our committee, who's going to give us some data. And so Ron, we'll put it into your hands there.
All right, I need to be able to screen share. I can at the moment.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay, well, good evening, everybody. I hope you're getting ready for the holidays and that you're safe, and that you travel safely during the holidays. As Reverend Screen said, we've given a white paper or a background paper to Delegate Valderrama to use in promoting the bills that Reverend Screens mentioned, the additional speed cameras and the increased fines for reckless speeders and repeat speeders. And I've selected two slides from what we put together. This one shows just this year, and not including this month yet, but 344 crashes on 210. That includes just property damage, injuries, and fatalities. So it doesn't separate them out, but it shows that there's no place on 210 that you're safe from being involved in a crash, and so you have to be very careful and drive defensively wherever you are on 210. Let's see, the next one, if I can get to, if you can go to the next slide. Okay, here we've mentioned how we don't have any Maryland State Police enforcement on 210, and yet they do enforce on they don't enforce traffic on 210 in Prince George's County, but they do in Charles County. So they drive down through Prince George's County and start enforcing once they cross the Charles County line, and then they stop again when they go back to their barrack in Forestville. And so you can see, and I can't, I can't say there's a cause and effect, but there's certainly a very strong relationship between, or disparity at least, between the crash rate on 210 in Prince George's County versus Charles County. And you can see it's dramatic that we have way more crashes, both property injury and fatality crashes per mile. I mean, I've tried to even it out by, they have a shorter distance than we do. So I've divided the number of crashes by the mileage just to kind of balance it out. And you can see even doing that, there's a dramatic difference between our crash rate and Charles County crash rate. And so we do need more enforcement on 210. It just stands out, and it's obvious, I think, to anybody that looks at the data that we're just it's a lot. You're risking your life a lot more in Prince George's County on 210 than you are in Charles County, and so we are doing everything we can. We're encouraging more officer enforcement, and we're working toward more automated enforcement on 210, and also trying to focus on the reckless speeders, because we found that the vast majority of people on 210, while they may speed a little, but most of them don't speed enough to trigger the speed cameras. And as a matter of fact, less than 1% of the traffic on 210 are subject to speed camera citations. So there's a very small minority of people that are dangerous out there, and that's the ones we need to focus enforcement on, both on the officer side and the automated side. Let's see, there's one other slide I wanted to put up that I didn't get a chance to send it to you all. If I can do my own sharing here, let me see if I can bring that up. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay, in that one, that's a QR code. If you if you're not using your smartphone, if you take a picture of that QR code, that will bring you to the 210 traffic safety blog, where I will be posting information asking you to help support us when these bills that Delegate Valderrama will be putting in the hopper. We'll need people to individually, we now have, I think it's 11 organizational support representing over 5,000 families. But in addition to that, it would be extremely helpful if individually we email support for the bills that you'll be putting in. And as soon as I get copies of the bill and I get a stabilized list of the members of the Prince George's County delegation and the Maryland House Environment and Transportation Committee members, those are the representatives that we need to send our emails of support to these bills to. I haven't done it yet because the bills are not yet in published form, and the members of both the Prince George's delegation and the Environment and Transportation Committee members are not yet stabilized. So as soon as that happens, I will make it as easy as I can for you to get their email addresses and the bills that we'll be asking you to support. That's about all I have to say. You're gonna, I don't know if Captain Smith is gonna be on the call tonight. Reverend Spina, you're gonna?
He has not indicated he would, so I don't see him logged in here. Yeah. So we don't have him on board here tonight.
He has, there's a requirement because there's a sunset clause in the legislation that allows us to have the 3 speed cameras that we have, that sunsets next year. This is the upcoming General Assembly session that we have to justify postponing that sunset or hopefully eliminating the sunset, that we established that the speed cameras are effective and they're worth continuing. And so Captain Smith has submitted a draft of his report to back that up. And Reverend Spina and I have just seen it in draft form today, and it looks good. It does show that the speed cameras are at least initially effective. It looks like over the long term, people, as you might expect, get used to where the speed cameras are, and the numbers are kind of settled down, and we probably need to move those speed cameras around a lot, so more often than they have been, to make them more effective. I think that's one of the things that's come out of his study. And it does, again, he shows that most people are reasonable drivers on 210. Most people are, and we're not, trying to fill up the courts with thousands of citations. We're trying to get citations to the people who need to change their ways dramatically. People who are egregious super speeders who endanger all of our lives on 210, and there aren't that, they're a small percentage, but they're a very dangerous percentage, and we need to change their behavior. So I think we can go a long way once we focus increased fines on these reckless speeders and repeat speeders, and if we move the speed cameras around so that they don't get used to slowing down where the cameras are and then racing away right after that, we might save multiple lives on 210, and I'm including everybody on the at the meeting tonight, that we're all, I imagine everyone here uses 210 and we're all at risk. And so we all need to work together to make it safer for all of us. I think we can do that. All right, that's all I have. Thank you, Reverend.
Okay. Okay,
have-
Ron, I think we had a question from Jamal.
Oh yeah, how you doing? Actually, Ron just Jamal speaking. He just reiterated that increasing the fines. That's what I was going to actually say.
Okay.
That so really that's why I lowered my hand. I
Okay.
just think that with the increased fines, that's going to make it a lot better on 2
Okay.
cents. So, but he said such.
Okay.
No problem.
Thank you so
I have a
much.
question, Reverend Screen.
Okay, Ms. Sensi, can you hold for just a second? I think we got a Mr. Jones I
Yes.
had missed, and then Jocelyn Smith, and then you, Ms. Jones, you can kind of go from there. I think Jocelyn Smith and Mr. Jones are the same person there.
Right. Right. Good evening, everyone. Just
Okay.
a quick question. Is the captain still on? Because I wanted to thank him, and happy to hear that news about the additional staffing. But I wanted to get an idea of whether or not the staffing still met the current goals or whatever was set up for 2020, fiscal year 2021 in terms of the 7th district actual staffing goals. And I wanted to secondly find out, in terms of the traffic stops, et cetera, is there a profile of the most egregious folks in terms of age? I'm really interested in whether or not information like that is captured or can be obtained. Do we know the age group of these folks that are exceeding the speed limit at all? Are they younger? Are they between 23 and 35? Just to give us a better idea of who these individuals are that are violating the speed cameras and the overall speed. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Captain Smith, who does a lot of our statistics or captures a lot of our traffic data, if he has the average age of a person. I will say, especially with the cameras that capture the cars, you're going to capture the registered owner and not necessarily the specific driver. I mean, and I can't speak to exactly like what age group is hit more, but I will say, just as a guesstimate, 210 is a high volume highway, and you get a variety of ages on there, and especially during the rush hours and that. So I honestly, I don't know, and I don't know what the exact ages would be, but I would guess, I would say it's going to be very varied for that highway.
Great. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Just very quickly, is there a concentration of these violators based on time of day?
Again, I don't, I'm sorry about that. I know
Okay.
Captain Smith might have that. I don't know that number off the top of my head. It's hard to say, because I could say, well, during the rush hours, early in the morning, people rushing up 210 to get to work, you would think it would be more high volume of speeders, which it probably is. But then also during the slower times when it's not rush hour, that leaves that stretch of highway wide open for someone to come blazing up it. So, but I would still tend to think it would be the rush hours where we have the most volume.
Yeah.
Mm.
If I can kind of jump in with a little bit of that, the current report that Ron was speaking to a moment ago, the Captain Smith is generating to go to the state, all the specific data accumulated over the so many years of the first camera up until now, to our current time. One of the things that has been shown is that most of the infractions recorded have been going northbound. Now I mean, almost 3 times as much going northbound. Now, even though from what he reported and what I saw reported in that data caption, it didn't show time of day, but I believe it's almost, I don't think I'm too far from the well when I say I believe that is the rush hour period when people are, are doing the most speeding, where the most of the, the traffic is going northbound, going to work in the morning. Now, for those of us who have been living on somewhere around 210 for a period of time, as my wife and I, this is going off what, almost 43rd year, I think. Rush hour starts down here in Accokeek about 4:30 in the morning. We can literally hear, 5 o'clock, they're rolling. And what we're talking about, when I say I'm talking about what we're hearing, people coming from Charles County, the plate of people coming, I guess, using 210 coming from that far south, going northbound. You can tell the volume of traffic when it's rush hour, I'll put it that way. And there's a lot of it. And rush hour coming in the evening, usually to me, it starts around 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It goes to about 7:30, so but the recorded infractions, most of them were recorded going northbound. So that much we do know. The report did not indicate time or, age of people, that sort of thing. But that much, I guess we can ask, to see in future dates or future recordings, to put it that way, if they can break it down into those other categories. But that's what we have thus far. Okay. I think we have Ms. Cynthia Jones, who was next to in terms of a question. Ms. Jones.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Jones, the Public Safety Committee, and I'm also on the board of MAD Mid-Atlantic Region, which includes Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia, DC. I have a question for Ron. You mentioned that there are 11 organizations who support the bill that's being presented by Delegate Valderrama. Can you tell me if any of these, I'm not going to say the organizations, but there are some local bars that along Indian Head Highway 210. Have we got any of those, I'll say companies, who would be willing to support us? For example, Sunnybrook.
I have not contacted them, no.
Do you feel that it should be done?
But certainly we could help, sure.
And there are some other, right in Accokeek, they serve alcohol. Do you want me to go to these?
That would, yeah, if you would do that, that would be wonderful. I appreciate that. Sure.
Okay, I'll do that. There are some that are on off of Indian Head Highway 210. I'll give you a call later on this week concerning what I plan to present to these bars who serve alcohol. Because you do know it's not only the local bars who serve alcohol where people stop after they get off from work or whatever time of day it is and have a drink or two. They also come from various other places.
Sure.
For example, DC, Virginia. They travel down Indian Head Highway 210. The only place that I can really focus on right now are the bars on Indian Head Highway 210. So I'll go inside Sunnybrook, and there is another place in Accokeek. I'm not sure if he serves alcohol, but I do know the owner of that restaurant that's off of Indian Head Highway 210, and I'm sure I could get his support.
Well, that would be wonderful if you would do that. Bars, yes, but I think all businesses along 210 would benefit if 210 were safer. People might might frequent their business if they felt safer on 210.
Right. Okay, I'll take on that initiative.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll call you later on this week.
Okay.
Ron.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, just moving on, thank you for that question and answering. One of the things I wanted to just, before we move on to Peter, is just to give some other data points that I think would be interesting in this segment of our presentation. As Ron has been going towards the white paper in terms of research and data to put forth for that particular document, some other things that have come to pass in terms of what I've researched in this 15th, closing out this 15th year where we started in 2007. The reason we started 2007, we were trying to, in our inception period 5 years ago, we were trying to look at 10-year data, that sort of thing, in 2017. So it just kind of came to be a kind of a marked date to kind of go by. Not to say that things haven't happened long before 2007, but it just kind of set its ways with us for those reasons. But one thing I found out in the 15th year here, closing out here 2022, we have lost, by my calculations, 87 people on Indian Head Highway. 87 people. That works out to about, for every 15, if you're talking about 15 years, that's about 5.8 people per year that we have lost. That is an extremely high number of people for a roadway for Prince George's County. I think it's a little over 15 miles of roadway. Now this year, we have lost 8 people on the Indian Head Highway. In the year 2022, we've lost 8 people as opposed to 4 last year in 2021. I've also done just a rough calculation in the last 3 years. When we're going from the year 2020, 2021, and closing out, and I'm not, we still haven't finished out here 2022, but going back to 2020, 2022, 2022, this year, the last 3 years, we have lost 20 people in the last 3 years. And that's inclusive of this year. 13 of those people have been pedestrians. Those types of numbers, I mean, just jump off the page in anybody's book. It lends itself to its own explanation that it's a dangerous road. 13 people, pedestrians, 20 in the last 3 years. And we're talking the COVID year is starting off, 2020, when people were supposed to be at home for the most part. So, I mean, this year, again, with 8 people lost, and we still have a few more days here in this month. And I do not disclude the remaining portion of this month, because one of the dangerous and most egregious things that happened going back here to 2018, in the last day, next to the last day of December 2018, is when we lost the 3 Mejia children on that December 30th, 2018. So we never know what day will bring on this roadway. One of the things I wanted to ask either Peter Caponides or Captain Martini, there was a very devastating accident that happened at the intersection of Indian Head Highway and Livingston Road South. Well, I shouldn't say south, because right at 237, I think it is, where the B&J's is. Both signs are gone now. I mean, we had an accident where one sign southbound was knocked down at that median. Now the one northbound is knocked down. And I don't know if that was a result of, I'm thinking it was a result of this supposedly bad accident that I was told about that happened this past, I think it was past Wednesday, last week, if I'm not mistaken. And I didn't know if there was a fatality associated with that. I hadn't heard anything, by my understanding, was a very bad, very bad accident in that intersection. So we are still grappling with a lot of danger on this road, even though, when you talk about 1% of the people doing bad, we're talking about 80,000 people a day now on this roadway. That's what it was before COVID, and it's supposedly gotten back up to that number or slightly above that. So even if 1% of 80,000 people, it's a lot of people out there on that roadway and 15 miles of road that's wreaking a lot of havoc. So we are still in the straits of having things needed to be done. And of course, the efforts that we're trying to put forth with the increase in fines, increase with more enforcement, increase with number of cameras. We're still trying to catch up to things where we can feel relatively safe on this roadway. But that being said, we'll talk about any questions that anyone may have on some of the things I just reported a little later. I want to get right here now to Peter Campernidis, our State Highway Administration representative. Peter, it's always good to have you on board. Peter, just any new person on board here, has been with us since our inception period over 5 years ago, reporting diligently on matters regarding infrastructure and any other safety matters regarding any head highway as it pertains to the state's ability to influence or be a part of. So Peter, once again, we want to thank you as a group, thank you as a community for being on board. We'll give you the platform and let you report to us any additional infrastructure changes or what have you that you have to report to us. Peter?
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Screen. Good evening, everyone. Happy holidays.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. As of, I guess, December 8th, I don't know if any of you on the call was aware of a presentation that was made regarding providing a separate.
Peter, can you turn your volume up a little bit higher? It looks like it's down pretty low. Yeah.
Is that better? Is that better?
That's not much more.
Okay. All right. Let me try this. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's a little bit better, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. No. All right.
There you go. That's better. That's better.
Okay. On December 8th, MWSHA had a virtual meeting to talk about providing a separate bicycle facility that would be off of Maryland 210. This is a supplement to the projects that have been planned for some time for interchanges along Maryland 210. And in the course of the coming months, I'm hoping next year there will be the beginnings of some public involvement as it relates to the next two locations, Palmer Road and Old Fort Road North. There were concerns that were raised by some of you, including you, Reverend Dr. Screen and Ron, about the bike lane signing that was implemented as part of the Kirby Hill Road interchange project. We have removed the signing and the pavement markings for that, so that it's not so that the shoulders are not designated for bike lanes, because we understand that this is not safe. I saw that, Reverend Tierney. Louder, louder. Okay. We are working on, we have done that work, which is, I think I think it's the right thing to do, and we're going to be working with Prince George's County to reroute that traffic to use Oxon Hill Road to access any of the northern points. The whole idea with having the bicycle connectivity is to provide access to places like National Harbor, and also the bike trail that crosses the Wilson Bridge. So to get into Alexandria and those areas in Virginia. So we're going to be going through an iterative process to make that happen. We are still looking at what the appropriate speed should be. This posted along 210 from Palmer Road northward to the Beltway. And of course, we will be filling in the gaps as far as the flex posts are concerned along the shoulders. And today there was an internal meeting to talk about a research project that we are going to pursue over the course of the next year to put in some type of treatments that would encourage motorists to drive closer to the posted speed limit. So so we're going to try two different types of, at least for now, the intent is that we're going to try two different types of quick curb and flex posts to create a tunnel effect. The the section that is the most feasible to do that is along the 4-lane divided section, which is from the Charles County line to Maryland 228 Berry Road. So I'm hoping that in the spring we'll be able to implement it and see what kind of effect that's going to have in controlling travel speeds. It's a little bit more difficult to do in the 6-lane divided section, but we'll see what happens in the 4-lane divided section, and maybe we can get some inspiration for how to treat the 6-lane divided section. So that's all I have to report at the moment. Oh, Ron, one other thing. Well, two other things. Ron first. I have talked to Bill McLeod about the crash data. So that's in the hopper, that's being worked on. I'm anticipating the next meeting you should have something to work with. And Mr. Andy, I haven't heard anything yet about the bump heading northbound on 210 crossing over the bridge. So that's where we are at this point.
Thank you, Peter. I thought you were going to give me your recipe, but that's okay.
I haven't memorized it yet. And unfortunately, it's been a while. I apologize for that.
Okay.
We haven't cooked it in a while, actually. I'll tell you what we did cook though yesterday. My second favorite soup, which is Hungarian mushroom soup. Yeah, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious.
I need that recipe.
Okay.
And
I also
if
made
we
it too.
put your recipes on the blog, that might attract more people to take a look at them.
All right, home cooking with Peter Campanitas.
There you go.
Right here, right here.
We want to thank you,
On.
Peter, for the presentation. And we do have about 3 hands up. I want to start with Pete Monroe, Tamara, and then Mr. Herb Jones thirdly, in terms of questions there. Mr. Monroe?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Mr. Campanese, I'm not sure if this is the meeting I should be bringing this up in. But that overpass at Kirby Hill and Livingston, there needs to be no U-turn signs every day. And I mean every day. Somebody comes off of the southbound 210 ramp, makes a U-turn to go northbound. I saw a 16-wheeler do it yesterday. That is a serious accident waiting to happen. And it happens, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you the number of times. And District 4 police have been trying to monitor that area. But they said the issue is they can't write people a citation for making those illegal turns, well, those U-turns, because there are no signs that say no U-turn. And I mean, if you put somebody there, either in the morning or the afternoon, it happens more so in the afternoon. If you put somebody at one of those areas and just monitor the U-turns that get made at that intersection, there's going to be a disaster there. So is there any way we can get no U-turn signs put at those ramps?
No, this road never ceases to amaze me. And there are a few choice words that I can't expound in mixed company.
Oh, I probably set them up
But,
under my breath already.
But you can, yeah.
Say it in Greek.
The frustration continues. No, I'm not gonna, no, stop that. We'll look into that.
Yes, I mean, I was done when I saw the 16-wheeler do it. I was like, okay. Right.
It's like, what else can you do on this road that is absolutely insane? Please tell me. I'm sure there's more where that came from. We'll look into it.
Well, live out
Thank
here with
you.
us for a while. You'll find some reasons.
I don't want to find any. Well, okay, but to get off on a small tangent, and this is one thing that really got me, using four-letter words. So a few weeks ago, you probably did hear about a fatal crash that occurred with a woman who was moving from, I don't know where she was moving from, but she was moving to her new place. She had help. So there were two vehicles carrying furniture. The person ahead, a piece of furniture fell off the vehicle into the road. She sees it. She decides to stop. Okay, she puts her flashers on. And she stops to try and get it. And there's another car coming, from the south, sees the flashers, tries to get away from her. She manages to get in the way of the person, go toward the direction that the person's trying to maneuver away from her, hits her. And, of course she died from that. But I'm like, I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to fix that. And that is, that's the kind of stuff that this road, as you all are aware, that's the kind of stuff that happens on this road. And it's, and it is, I feel like it is unique in that sense, because I don't think, I feel like, something happens to the way people behave on that road, and things like that happen. And it's incredibly frustrating.
Yes. Well, Peter, we'll all, believe me, we're hurting. I mean, sometimes we joke about things when we find a light moment, but the loss of life is never anything that we can really digest without pain. And we're all trying to find a better solution. But I'm glad that you have, stood there with us. And wherever this inflection point will be, where things get better, we'll all get there together. I think we
Still
have
here. I'm still here.
Tamara, I think you had a question.
Yes, I do. Thank you and good evening, everyone.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm
Good.
doing well, thank you. Peter, you mentioned that we should be on the lookout for some public meetings coming up for the next two interchangers at Palmer and Old Fort Road South. Does that
North.
mean
Fort Road
that,
North.
does that, I mean, north, I'm sorry, not south, north. Does that mean that the MGM funds have finally been released? I know Ron and I have put in a FOIA request with the county about those monies being released so that the planning can begin.
Money has been allocated toward beginning the whole project planning / preliminary engineering process. So there is money that I believe that piece was from state funds. I know that's something that's still being worked out. But obviously by law, the money is supposed to go toward the state, and I'm sure more funding is going to be used at some point to have the project or projects continue.
Okay, so is that, it sounded like you said that there was state monies released, but have you received the actual county monies? Because that's the FOIA request that Ron and I put in together.
Right. I'm unaware of that.
Okay, so Ron, I guess we still need to bug people about where those funds are and why they haven't been released to the state.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Sure. Either Mr. or Mrs. Schmidt-Jones.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, your brother Herb. Yeah, you get.
Good evening, and I would say this, Peter, keep your head up. As Reverend Screen said, you've been with us from day one, and I'm confident we're going to change this culture on 210 as we continue to move forward through our legislative actions and other community actions to change the driving habit. Two quick questions. You talked about
Your
this
lips
research.
to God's ears.
We talked about this research project, and I wanted to find out, is this based on information from other jurisdictions, best practices? I'm sure we're not the only jurisdiction that has this death highway, and other jurisdictions have looked at ways to slow traffic down. The research projects that you talked about, do they come from best practices or something that you all are generating internally? One, and two, I'd like to thank you for the lighting as you come off the Woodrow Wilson Bridge past MGM. It's like night and day. You can see, because as you know, I've been talking about that for 2-3 years since I've
You all
arrived in
have.
the community. Right,
You all
exactly.
have.
So thank you for that. And my last one, there seems to be an extraordinary amount of trash as you come off, on the side of the road. And I'm thinking 210 is a state highway, so we probably need to, you got a beautiful road, but that trash, when you look on the side, oh my gosh. So I'm sure you're going to address that in the future, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So those are my points. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
That's what
so as
happens
far
when
as
you turn the
re-
lights on. You see the trash.
That's a good one there, Ron.
Yeah, that is.
I-
Everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah. Ta-da. So as far as the research is concerned, and that's pretty much what part of what we were discussing internally this morning. The problem in regards to aggressive driving and speeding is nationwide, for starters. 210 in particular has been, for lack of a better word, special. Now, this, what we're trying, to my knowledge, is new and it's different. And the whole idea behind putting up these treatments is to create a tunnel effect. When you're driving down, when you're entering into a tunnel, what I see many times is people slowing down because you're approaching a narrow section of road. The same thing happens when entering a construction zone and there's a temporary barrier wall. It creates a tunnel effect, and it instinctively forces people to slow down. So what I'm trying to do is replicate that. If that can be replicated, and if we actually get the attention that I'm anticipating, and getting people to hit their brakes, then that's I think that's a win. This is something that is different. You don't normally we're in the business of trying to move traffic as safely and as efficiently as possible, especially on a road like this, which is it's an expressway, and we're pushing, as Reverend Screen said, up to 80,000 vehicles, especially on the north part of 210. So this is, it's I don't think anybody else has tried this specific type of approach. So if this works, it could not only be a game changer here, but for others around the nation, if they're interested in trying such a treatment like this, here is an option that could be used. So this is, so I'm I'm buckling my seatbelt and seeing how this is going to turn out. But that is the idea, that I'm trying to create a tunnel effect that encourages people to just slow down enough to drive reasonably. And this is not going to be just in one location. It's going to be a succession of locations between the Charles County line and Maryland 228. So I'm trying to I'm trying to get people to condition themselves to drive at a reasonable speed. And oddly enough, a reasonable speed around here would be 67 miles per hour, wouldn't it? It would be kind of nice if they were driving that, that speed, but that would be sort of like a step one of sorts. So so I would have the flex posts and or quick curb on either side of the edge line, on the set on the yellows along the yellow line, and a set along the white line. But I would have another set of lines to delineate two 11-foot lanes along that section. So I do want to have a little bit of an offset to the flex posts or the quick curb, so that they're not automatically hit like bowling pins. They're just, but the intent is to, make it feel like they're in an enclosed section.
Well, Peter, I think that's any scientific and psychological techniques that we can incorporate is certainly we're willing to try here on 210 if it would make it any better. We certainly welcome to anything that works. Anything that has even the slightest preponderance of being able to save more lives and less crashes on the roadway. Let me, we're here at 8:02. I want to make sure we open it up to any questions before we shut down here tonight. That any of you may have anything said in the presentations from Ron or Peter, myself, or just a question that you may have in general. Captain Martini, hope he's still on board to also answer questions. So is there any of you that still have anything on your heart that you would like to comment on or give a shout out or question on? Yes, Andy?
Reverend, yes, sir. I'd like to thank all you guys for the hard work that's been going into what we're doing, and we see some results.
Yes.
As we all know, it takes time, and I'm just so blessed to have people like you we're working with to try to, peel back this onion layer
Yeah.
by layer. And you guys have stood for it and taken all the arrows and everything else. And Peter, bless your heart.
Yeah.
You've taken on everything we've thrown at you. And like Tevlar, you've taken it and of all the hard work you've done.
Yeah.
And I must applaud you and say thank you very much to you and your families, and happy holidays.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Andy. Mr. Andy, I think you're feeling really Smurfy. I can tell because of that stuffed animal behind you. Now, which Smurf is that?
Now, this one, I guess, that's not Papa Smurf, so
No, it's not
I
Papa
don't know.
Smurf because you'd be wearing red and you have a beard.
Right.
I think Peter's our token Smurf.
I'm a token Smurf. I'm grouchy Smurf.
No, man, you're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, listen, it's always good to have some laughter, and we as a group, we're more than just a group of interested party. We are a family in the community here, and Peter, you certainly are part of us here as a
Yes.
family member, and we certainly thank you for all the dedicated time that you put in, as well as
Yes.
all the rest of us here coming forth. I really want to leave on an encouraging note, because I know, there's a lot of things we have highlighted in a negative sense, but I like to think in terms of, in this way. We are a community that, first of all, in the last 5 years, have shown a dedicated, organized fashion to come together the way we're doing right now. Just think if we were not together, where things would be on the road at this point in time. There would be no flex posts. There would be no cameras. There would be no lighting enhancements. There would be no discussion about the techniques that Peter is talking about right now to be implemented. These are all as a result, and so many other things that I'm probably not on top of, but these are all as a result of the input month to month that each of us, coming from a caring heart and a passionate spirit for community, that has made all these things possible, these enhancements. I can't think of what the road would be right now without the flex poles. I've seen them without it. I've seen the danger of I've watched most of these 43 years without it, compounding itself in danger, just beyond belief. But I'm glad to have Peter here who's put them in place. I'm glad that Ron and the rest of the team has been together to put the cameras in place.
Yes.
I'm glad that again, Peter and his efforts to put the lighting in place.
Yes.
I'm glad for the overpass. How many decades have we wanted for that? So there have been things that because we have been coming together just as we're doing right now, has become a direct consequence of our coming together. And what we're trying to do now is move forward for better, The old saying, it gets darkest just before the crest of dawn. I think that's where we are right now, because there's more people who have become conscious of what's going on in 210 in Prince George's County. And as Peter made note, you know, this cultural issue of recklessness and driving is not just here
Right.
in the 210 area. I don't know if most of you realize that Prince George's County has led the fatality list in the state of Maryland for the last 7 years. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And I don't mean leading by one or few numbers. I'm talking about a big berth, a wide berth of numbers. I think the next, what, Baltimore County, I think, Peter, is closest to us. Anne Arundel, one of the two.
Yeah.
And they're nowhere clear,
Probably-
nowhere.
Probably Baltimore County, yeah. Mhm.
Say again?
Yes, Baltimore County. is
Baltimore
probably
County, yeah.
best. Yeah,
Yeah, and we're the county is 100 plus pretty much every year. Why is that? Why is it that people riding crazy on Prince George's County side, and as the graph showed, Ron showed, they get to the same road in Charles County, all of a sudden sensibility comes in. What's up with that? What's up with that? It's, you know, we're talking about culture and a mindset that feels I can get away with it here as opposed to over there. That's something that we have to change. And I'm saying, just as we have made changes to get the overpass what we have now, to get the cameras that we have now, to get the flex poles that we have now, we're going to have to change some mindsets. That's next on the chopping block. We have got to make people who act a fool feel like a fool around sane-minded people. We've got to do it. And unfortunately, there are neighbors, there are friends, there are people we know. It's the same thing what happened in the cigarette stigma ages. There were people that were smoking around us that we had to change their behavior and understand and let them understand, look, you're killing me just because you want to smoke a cigarette. I can't take that. That's not going to work anymore. And that's the kind of attitude we're going to have to take. We have to stigmatize it. It's not accepted in civilized behavior to ride 168 miles an hour on a 55-mile-per-hour road. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And we have to make that as a mindset change, a cultural change. And is it going to be hard? Yes, it is. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible. So I want us to not get discouraged, but to get encouraged for the things that we have done as a collective body and what we are yet to do again as a collective body. Amen. I see Ron's hand is up. So Ron, I think you wanted to say something here?
Okay, I have just two short things. The U-turn on the overpass. I'm wondering, you know, truck drivers don't do that for fun. I imagine they took the wrong turn off the Beltway. And I think maybe we ought to look at the signage on the bridge. I know it's, to me, it's even confusing. And when I tell visitors how to get to south on 210, they get lost sometimes. So it may be a problem that's caused by, we could help resolve by better signage on the bridge as to, because there are multiple exits right in that area there. And if you take the wrong one, the truck drivers are trying to recover and get back on their journey. So that's my guess of what's going on there. And if the police, if we stop them and see them, we ask them why they're doing that, they may tell us what happened there. I don't think they're doing that just to make a U-turn. And the second is you talked about the need to maybe changing the date for the next meeting. I want to, I think we should either stay where we are or make it advance the week, because that's going to be the critical time when we need to urge people to get to do testimony.
Okay,
So yeah, either keep it the same or advance it 1 week.
Yeah, I'd say keep it the same. It's fine. I mean,
okay,
I have the, I do have that day off, but it is a day of service.
okay.
So, well.
Good point,
So,
good point.
so let's, yeah, so
Okay.
Okay,
I'm gonna take it in that spirit.
okay.
All right. Thank you.
Sounds good, sounds good. Okay, well, we'll keep the next date, which will be the 16th of January. We will be in a new year. We certainly have some new things coming ahead of us, as I've mentioned just a moment ago. I'm going to look at it with the most uplifting encouragement. And the reason why, because all of you are there, right there with us, shoulder to shoulder, to get things in an even better format. And I couldn't, I'm so glad that we have the group that we do have, in terms of your passion, your tenacity of being with us here on these third Monday nights, but also your caring is so much indicative of what we need as a community to make things happen. And I say, God bless each and every one of you. Unless there's anything else that we need to say here tonight, we do want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas to each and every one of you, Happy Hanukkah to each and every one of you and how you're celebrating. I'd like to invoke one of the oldest prayers that's recorded in the Bible. It comes from Numbers 6. But I say this with great meaning, because I want all of you to be safe over the holidays. We're certainly, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that we're just in some very turbulent times. But the prayer goes like this: may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord be gracious to you and shine his face upon you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Amen.
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 God bless you. Have a wonderful holiday period. We hope to see you safe and sound January 16th, 2023.
All
Amen.
right.
Amen.
Bless everyone.
Amen. Thanks a lot.
Holidays,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Be safe.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas
Merry
and thank you,
Christmas.
everyone.
Merry
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas.
Happy New Year's.
Christmas.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.